Good evening, Yorktown. It's Supervisor Matt Slater. Welcome to our COVID-19 question and answer session, our weekly question and answer session. I'm joined by Councilman Ed Lachterman. We have also on Facebook, I believe, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Sergio Esposito, who's going to be able to answer any questions that our small businesses may have, or if anyone has on the PPP loan, because he's been our local expert in that process as well. But to provide a quick update on where we stand. As of Friday, which was the last time we received numbers from the Department of Health, we had 58 active cases in the town of Yorktown. Again, that number is 58. Total, we have 664 since we first started testing in March. We had four new cases that came in on Friday. And I want to just talk a little bit about the numbers because I have received some questions about it. Because when you look at the map, I'm going to pull it up right in front of me right now, you do see that Yorktown is still, at least for northern Westchester, seems to be a bit higher. And I did actually call the County Department of Health. I spoke with the Commissioner of the Health Department. And fact of the matter is 72% of our cases are in our nursing homes. And while that may be reassuring for some, it's tragic for others, but also echoes some of the things that we've seen during this entire pandemic. And the focus of the state. Additionally, the increased number may also, again, may is a key word here, may also be attributed to the fact that every nursing home patient had to be tested. And that was a mandate by the state of New York. Again, that testing has wrapped up and the results are now what's coming in. So it's a very nursing home specific testing result. Also, nursing home employees are now being tested twice a week. And so, again, as we see throughout this entire process, the more testing and the more focus on testing, it results in increased numbers. So in this case, we are attributing, again, the number is 72%. 72% of the 58 active cases are sitting in our nursing homes right now. And our thoughts and prayers are with all those impacted, as well as the employees, the staff members who continue to manage this. I've also been asked what qualifies an active case. And an active case, it's not science. Active meaning that it was diagnosed, that the individual was diagnosed within a 2-week time frame. And so I can tell you that we're expecting the number to decrease when we get the next round of data from the Department of Health because, again, there's nearly a dozen, I believe it was a dozen individuals who tested positive, and those, roughly dozen would be dropping off and dropping out of that active caseload because it would be more than 2 weeks. Doesn't mean they've resolved. We don't get those numbers. We don't get that information. This is simply a time frame that we and the health department utilize to determine active cases. So I want to make sure we're very clear on the 58 and what that means and some of the definitions and parameters that we're using. We are continuing to move forward through the reopening process. I know that a lot of people are enjoying outdoor dining. That's been accelerated into phase 2. We have a number of establishments in Yorktown which either had approval for outdoor dining previously or by using the new streamlined process either expanded their outdoor dining footprint or brought outdoor dining to their establishment. I know that the Yorktown Diner, Yorktown Coach Diner right here in Downing, now has outdoor dining. Nadine's just opened their outdoor beer garden. And then you've seen other places like Furcy's, the Gramercy, and a few others, a number of others, Little Sorrento's, Savannah's. They've already had outdoor dining, and so people are taking advantage of the ability. I said the Gramercy, yep, the ability for outdoor dining. And of course, our friends at Hudson Valley Steakhouse, yes, who turned their entire parking lot into an outdoor dining room.
Right. Frankie Augie's did this parking lot
Frankie
also.
Frankie and Augie's, yep, we checked out their parking lot as well. And I believe the Jefferson Valley Diner there also has tables now on the sidewalk outside. So
does the Yorktown Diner have someone?
Yorktown Diner, yes, has a tent now.
That's new,
yep,
right? And
that's new. So it's great to see our small businesses take advantage or expand their outdoor dining footprint. And then again, to all of our residents, we ask, do your best to support our Main Street businesses and our local eateries, and let's help them get back on their feet. But it's a very exciting time as we, again, reopen. There are also retail stores that are open. I know Dick's Sporting Goods over at the Jefferson Valley Mall is open. The mall itself is closed. They are set to reopen as part of Phase 3, and there are curbside pickup opportunities available with specific retailers, and so we encourage you to call before you arrive. If they are wholly within the mall, you will not be able to gain access to them. If they have individual entrances and exits like Macy's or Dick's, then they will or may, in this case, hopefully are open. So just call ahead. Here in Yorktown, we did open the Paw Park over at Sylvan Glen. We also opened Veterans Field and Downing Park. Very important to just keep in mind, we are asking for individual use. Individual use, no organizational sports at this point in time. Again, reminding folks, groups less than 10, because again, we can't, according to the executive order handed down by the governor, groups greater than 10 are not allowed, and social distancing. So make sure you keep that mask on you, but we are slowly also reopening our facilities to the best of our ability in a very deliberate manner to ensure everyone's health and safety. And so I encourage folks to get out. It's supposed to be a beautiful week, and we're doing our best to reopen as many facilities as we can. I have been asked about playgrounds. I actually was with two of our commissioners this morning over at Sparkle Lake. We did a walkthrough of Sparkle Lake, picking up a lot of litter. And I want to remind everyone, if you're caught, it's a $1,000 fine now in the town of Yorktown. That's an executive order that we continue to keep in place, and the town board's going to be hopefully moving that into statute so that it's not just a COVID-19 related item, but something that stands. Frankly, I was appalled by the amount of garbage that I picked up, and this isn't about me. I really don't care. I'm happy to do it, but I shouldn't have to do it. No one should have to do it. We are all living in this community. We are all doing our best during these challenging times, and we're seeing a lot of use out of some of our fantastic assets, like Sparkle Lake, like our trails, specifically again over at Sylvan Glen, and so littering is just wrong. It's flat out wrong. And again, we've increased our litter cams. So we have increased litter cams across town. And just a reminder, if you're going to litter and you get caught, it's a $1,000 fine. So I hope that bottle, I hope the cheese doodle bag that I picked up out of the water today, I hope all that's worth it for all of you who are doing this, because it's frankly unacceptable in my eyes, in my mind, and really gives the town a black eye in these cases. And so we're doing our best to keep up with it. Again, we're not talking, again, the gloves or the masks. I'm happy to report that I wasn't picking up any of that, but it was it was bottles of water. It was Snapple cans. It was, like I said, I fished out a couple of bags of cheese doodles out of the lake. I mean, our kids are coming here to play. Our families are trying to utilize these great assets. So please respect the town, respect your neighbors, and again, the $1,000 fine will be enforced if anyone is caught littering in our community.
Even walking around the neighborhoods, I've seen an increase in litter. Carol's gotten to the point where she carries around a glove and some bags to pick stuff up.
I got a picker now that
Right.
thank God I had it in my trunk when I showed up.
So I will go on to say that if you are littering in the neighborhoods and someone picks it up on their Ring camera or their video camera, that is actually considered something that could be put in and used against people. Just have respect for the neighborhood. You're right. It's a black eye. Yorktown is beautiful, a great place to live, and we don't help ourselves by throwing garbage on the ground.
Absolutely. As a reminder, early voting is currently underway at the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center. There will be early voting times between now and Sunday, a week from today, so you can go cast your vote early for, I believe the presidential primaries, and I believe we have some congressional primaries as well. So feel free to exercise your right to vote. And then again, as a reminder, June 23rd is primary day. The Board of Elections is sending out postcards. We have consolidated the number of polling sites. It's not going to be your traditional polling site, most likely. The state of New York required any polling place that is in a senior living facility, such as Catherine Street, such as Jefferson Village, they had to be removed and consolidated elsewhere. So the town is now looking at 3 polling places. It's the John C. Hart Library. It is the Cappellini Center. And there is one more, which has escaped me off the top of my head, but there is a third polling site. Copper Beach Middle School. Thank you. Copper Beach Middle School is the third polling site that we are utilizing. So look for those. It's a very large white postcard from the Board of Elections coming to your mailbox if you're a qualified voter.
I think they hit this past Friday.
Yeah, I think I know some folks who did receive them as well over the weekend. Summer camps, again, the Yorktown half-day and full-day summer camps have been canceled. Private summer camps, though, have been green-lighted to start on June 29th. And so if you are looking for summer camp opportunities, please reach out to those providers. I know that our Parks and Rec Department is trying to work through a process to allow specialty camps. And so hopefully we're going to have some more information about that in the next week or so. But I know that's something our Parks and Rec Director has been working very diligently on.
Matt, I'm sorry. Tommy, could you turn up the volume on the speakers? Some people are saying they can't hear on Facebook.
Might not be. That's Facebook.
Wow.
Let's see if I can do it over
didn't know
here.
if the speakers were affecting that. All right. Sorry.
I don't know if that's any better. If that's better, just let us know. I'm trying to control it on my phone. It's as loud as it can get. So again, we were talking about summer camps. Is that any better? Do we know?
I haven't seen it come up, so we'll have to see what happens.
Okay. So again, summer camps, just check with those local providers for any potential summer camp opportunities. June 29th is the date for them to begin. Our workforce remains here at the town of Yorktown capped at 50% until we reach phase 3, which we expect to a week from Tuesday, based on the timelines that we've been working off of. Then at that point, we'll be allowed to be 100% of our workforce will return, again, a week from Tuesday. The game plan at this point in time is to allow our workforce to come back in full, to give us time to resolve any issues that we may have to manage, and then we can begin putting a plan in place to reopen our facilities to the public. So I do expect that to be at the end of the month for the public to be able to have access to our facilities. We, again, continue to function. We continue to work. Drop boxes are still available, again, outside of Town Hall. All of our departments are open, and they are working. You can either call them directly, you can email them, or, of course, you can contact my office as well, and we'll get you in touch with whoever you may need to get in touch with. We have been discussing pools. For private pools that are within housing associations, I've been getting quite a few phone calls about this. That process is going to be dictated by the Westchester County Department of Health, because you do need a Department of Health permit to open your pool. So at this point, as long as the Department of Health signs off on your pool permit, again, this is specifically for our condo associations, our HOAs, where we have community pools within these different housing complexes. As long as the County Department of Health approves your permit, you will be allowed to open. That's the way that it's going at this point in time. Fitness centers still remain a Phase 4 entity, so we are still waiting for Phase 4 or if something changes, which has happened, as we've seen. We're building this as we fly, and right now we're trying to land the planes, so doing our best here. But right now, fitness centers remain a Phase 4 entity unless something changes. And then earlier today, speaking of things that have changed, the governor did announce that low-risk youth sports are able to resume on July 6th. And I know that's music to a lot of ears, a lot of our kids, a lot of our parents who are hoping to get their children back into sports this summer. So July 6th, the governor announced today, low-risk youth sports. Now, what does that mean for the town? That means we need to get additional guidance from our partners on the state level as to what defines low-risk youth sports. I've seen a couple of presentations, and I think we have a sense, but we need to get the final determination, final guidance from the governor's office, and then we have to implement it. And so that's going to fall, obviously, to our Parks and Rec Department again, as well as our Parks and Rec Commission. We've been tremendous partners throughout this whole process to make sure that our fields are ready, and that we can welcome back these low-risk youth sports at the appropriate time. And again, according to the governor, that stands at July 6th. It's important to note, at this point in time, what we do know is that only 2 spectators per child are going to be allowed when we do start this up. So just keep that in mind for all you folks out there, all my fellow parents who have kids who are looking to play summer baseball or get back out on the soccer field. It's going to be 2 spectators per player. So just keep that in mind, and we will continue to update you as these plans are better developed.
So you and Kelly won't be able to watch Charlie because your mother and grandmother are going to
It's definitely going to be a wrestling match. There's no doubt about that.
You better get the other one out there playing soon.
She's close. Don't worry.
Then you'll be good.
The youngest one's close. So, Councilman, anything you want to add to our update today so far?
Well, you know what? I wanted to just wish everyone a happy Flag Day. I've seen a couple of Elks on here. I know Tom Diana, a fellow councilman, and Brian Wolfson, who are Elks, and the Elks are huge with Flag Day. Missed their celebration. Really recommend that for all. You know, we're gaining traction. We're moving towards the different phases. We're looking at phase 3, hopefully very, very soon. And you know what? We really need to be smart. Make sure that we're adhering. There were a couple questions that popped up, so when we get to that, I'll answer what we have. And you know, we just really want to. We really just want to do this smart, safe, be successful, really do our best for the town of Yorktown. So we're going to keep up on that and keep moving along as a entire town board.
Right, and I'm glad you mentioned that because it's been a collaborative effort with every member of the board, every step of the way. We have these conversations continually to make sure that we all gather input and make the best decision for the town. And I agree with that completely.
You know, and I will thank you, Supervisor, because with the emergency orders, and we've seen it not only in New York but in other states, some of the people just want to make all of the decisions in a non-collaborative way. And you know what, I admire the collaborative approach you've taken to it, and I think that should be noted and. A long-distance pat on the back.
For, a 6-foot pat on the back.
Yeah, 6-foot pat on the back.
Well, listen, it's a team effort.
Done. It is. It is.
Team effort, not just for the town board members, but with, obviously, our department heads and staff and other members of our community who continue to provide great input as well.
Right.
Absolutely. So, again, this is a Q&A session. If you'd like to ask a question, you have 2 options. You can either put it on our Facebook page, and Councilman Lachterman and Sergio Esposito, I believe, even though I don't know for sure.
I haven't seen Sergio as of yet.
But at least Councilman Lachterman is monitoring it. Or you can call this phone right here, 914-962-5722, extension 216. Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? Okay. Yeah, and I'll talk about that in 2 seconds, no problem. Yeah, the litter. It's insane. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Right. I'll talk about the masks, no problem. And then you had a question? Yeah, I mean that's not a COVID specific question. So, but yeah, we're going to get there. Yep. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. So the question, the COVID-related question was about masks. And so as a reminder to everyone, do Do you want to try the masks while I answer this? Or you want me to get back to it?
Sure, I'll talk about masks. I'm not sure what the
Sure,
exact
I can help you.
question was, but I will say that masks need to be worn if you cannot be within 6 feet of, if you cannot stay 6 feet from the other person. All establishments are required
Where are you?
to have you wear masks when entering, so that's a big part of that as well. And stores and establishments can refuse entry and service if you are not wearing a mask. But you can be walking in the park, and if you stay 6 feet from anyone, you do not need to wear a mask. So I know there's a lot of confusion. They want you to try to, when possible, for the safety of others, but it is not a necessity. You could have a gathering, and if you're distant, you do not have to wear the mask. In addition, in restaurants, and this goes back to one of the questions, we'll have code enforcement. We'll be out looking at the spacing of the tables to try to make sure that the operators are educated properly to the distancing that needs to be between the tables. But in a restaurant, when you're sitting at a table eating, you do not have to wear a mask, eating and drinking. When you get up and walk through the restaurant, you do need to have a mask on. So those are a couple of the mask issues that are out there, and hopefully that answers the question that the supervisor was asked.
Right. What's your phone number? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 3233. Okay, great. Let me give you a call back on this specific matter as soon as we're wrapping up, because it's not COVID related, so we're trying to keep it very focused on that. But I'll give you a call back, and then we can figure out a solution to this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that shouldn't be. That's not allowed, frankly. But I can talk about that. That's not a problem. I can talk about that and address that one for you. Then I can call you about the other issue. Yep. Yeah. 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 The lateness is. Yeah, I understand. I'm happy to deal with the capacity issue, and then I can call you back on the noise issue. Okay? Thanks so much. Bye-bye. So as a reminder, I know that everyone wants to have graduation parties right now, right? Just keep in mind, please, that it's a 10-person limit according to the executive order handed down by the governor. We ask that you respect that. Again, we understand it's very challenging and frustrating, and obviously there's, folks want to celebrate, and they want to celebrate responsibly. Our seniors especially are really getting the short end of the stick, since the graduation is not as a traditional graduation may be. And so obviously, my fellow parents, again, I totally understand. You want to enjoy a wonderful celebration with your friends and family and that of your kids, but please, as a reminder, it's a 10-person limit is the gathering definition under the governor's executive order. That has not changed. That has not changed. So if we can just continue to adhere to that until the appropriate time, because I think, as Councilman Lachterman had alluded to earlier, we are at the point where we're trying to land this plane and get back to life, a normal life, so to say.
Yes.
But there are still things that we have to adhere to. And you mentioned the masks. The masks are important. The gatherings, limiting those gatherings are important. And, I understand it's frustrating. I understand some people, may feel that there's a bit of a double standard out there, and I recognize that. But understand that this is all for your health and safety, and your neighbor's health and safety, and your family's health and safety, and we don't want to go backwards. That's the last thing that we want to do, that anyone wants to do right now. And so we continue to flatten the curve. This community's done a fabulous, fabulous job in doing that, but it's not time to let up. It's not time to lose focus, and that's what we always say.
Absolutely. And, Matt, and if you don't mind, let me just step in on that a little bit. So, people do feel there's a double standard because people have been allowed to demonstrate or protest. And peaceful demonstration and protesting is a constitutional right. And look, we we may not necessarily agree that the time is right for it, but it's the choice of people to do. And of course, we could have the counter answer. Well, I'll do this as a demonstration. And look, I think the most important thing is that we think about it smart, think about the focus. I'll take the demonstration that we had in town recently. I attended, as did Matt, Tom, Diana. Actually, I think our whole board was here at one point or another. And everyone addressed it a little differently. I said I'm going to be responsible because I work with a lot of seniors, and I stayed back and I watched and I made sure that, our town was there, but that I was able to hear the messages that were being given, just so I could hear what the voice of all of our people are, and that's the idea of it. So where we may not agree and we may think it's a double standard, the constitutional rights are there, and you have a personal choice to be smart about how you handle things. And I think that's the most important thing. If you're having a graduation party and you're inviting the grandparents over, really, how many people do you want there? How many people do you want not wearing masks? If that celebration could lead to someone becoming sick and possibly worse.
Right.
So, it's really important to take that personal choice and own it, and make sure that what you're doing is right for what's in your thought process and mind.
Absolutely. So again, if you want to ask a question, you can do it on the Facebook page. You can call 914-962-5722, extension 216, and that rings the phone right here. Councilman, do we have any questions on Facebook that we should address?
Well, there was a question that I answered on Facebook that I thought all tables had to be 6 feet apart. Some restaurant tables are on top of one another, and that
it's supposed to be 6 feet apart.
Yes, and our code enforcement has been out, and they will look at especially the people that haven't been doing this before. I know Hudson Valley Steakhouse did a great job at spacing. I think it's more like 8 to 10 feet apart. And, they'll work with them to educate and do the best thing for upholding the policy. And our code enforcement will be out and looking at that and working with the business owners, which is what's important here.
Absolutely.
There was a mention that the Barnwood had some outside dining now. Thank you, Barney, our friend Barney there. There was a question that I also answered. Do we know anything about how long furniture holds a virus on it? Can I accept furniture, or should I hold off for Yorktown Love and Action? Where that's a choice, Donna, that you'll have to make, and on bringing it in. The general consensus is that it does not last too long on furniture and surfaces, but I think the recommendation is also to have a disinfectant procedure in place, with a hospital-grade disinfectant for anything that if you're not sure of. Along those lines...
UV light also.
Oh, yes, UV light. Thank you.
That's what else we've been told.
Yes.
Is UV light.
Yep. There was a question, which I'm not sure about the answer, on clothing, like trying on clothing in stores. Have you heard anything?
I have not... I think we did actually try to get an answer on this, and my understanding was that they were allowing... I think as long as there's, to what you said earlier, some kind of disinfectant procedure for the retailer,
right?
That they were allowing it, but there wasn't anything specific. There's no specific guidance that we could find on trying on clothes.
Right, and I believe that it doesn't start till phase 3 anyway, because everything's supposed to be curbside pickup right now.
Right.
So there is another week and 2 days before or a week and a day before they really have to get that advice out. And I think that, once again, building it as they fly. There were a couple questions about the litter and the litter cams, and someone pointed out putting the cameras, pulling your cameras out. We will be getting the litter cams out onto some of the...
They've been being moved around strategically by code enforcement to high litter areas that have been identified, and so we will continue to cycle through what those sites are. But we have invested in additional litter cameras around town. Right,
and some of those hard-to-see spots are part of the concentration on that, because they are common dumping grounds. Um, I see some people said they couldn't hear me. I hope it's been better. Matt, how does this pick up? Is it off your phone or?
It's actually off of the
All
camera
right.
itself.
I'll try to speak up so that's there. There's a clothing.
Again, if you want to call in with a question, it's 914-962-5722, extension 216. As you're cycling through that, as a reminder, there is a planning board meeting tomorrow night, I believe.
No,
No, not tomorrow night.
tomorrow night. They're back to
Back
every
to
other
their
week.
Every other week. I apologize. I forgot they met last week.
Right.
They approved Commerce Street. We have a town board meeting
Tuesday night.
on Tuesday. Yep. So as a reminder of that, all through Zoom, and we welcome public input. We have two public hearings that we're going to be
so. Yep.
opening. So of course the
And I
public
think
input is.
two presentations as well.
Yep.
Do we know when nursing home visiting will be allowed?
They have not said.
There was a question, Andrew, about the old Compound Road people driving crazy. I think with that, you should contact the supervisor's office, and he will
Supervisor Slater, how can I
talk
help
to
you?
the police and the safety
Phase 3. Yep.
group to try to
Bye-bye.
address that. Okay. But please contact the supervisor's office. Is that
So it's
extension 200?
914-962-5722, extension 200, or you can just email me at mslater@yorktownny.org. Caller's question was about the JV Mall. As a reminder, JV Mall itself opens as part of Phase 3, which we expect to be a week from Tuesday. Again, because they're on 2-week intervals.
Okay, and Doug's been getting a little runaround on the Q&A for like trying to contact the county and the state. When will community pools be able to open? I live in Bridle Ridge, HOA.
Right, that would be the County Department of Health.
Right.
They are the ones who have to issue the permit. And so as long as the County Health Department issues the permit, obviously there's requirements that the HOA or the association would have to follow on top of that. But as long as the County Department of Health issues the permit, and I think it's the president of the association would have to sign the affirmation that they're following the guidelines, then the pool in that case would be able to open.
Let's see. Let's see. Just a message from Judge Lagonia that our court is open for civil cases and arraignments starting this Monday.
Excellent.
Criminal hearings remain adjourned thus far.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes.
Happy to hear that our court's getting back online.
Yes. There's a comment that Macy's is open, and any store within the mall with an outside entrance.
Exactly. An independent entrance is able to function.
Yep.
And be open. Again, that's why Macy's and Dick's are open.
And that seems to be it on the questions right now.
Okay. Again, if you do have a question, you can throw it up on the Facebook page, or you can call 914-962-5722, extension 216. If you don't want to ask your question publicly, you can always call me directly at 914-962-5722, extension 200, or you can email me at mslater@yorktownny.org. Councilman, if there's no other questions.
Now, well, I had a question. How did your walk for my brother Vinny go today?
Terrific. We walked around Sparkle Lake, and then I went back a second time and picked up all the trash.
There you go. Well, for those that don't know, my brother Vinny, one of our local charity organizations, they do a lot of community service work, and they help veterans in need, 100% volunteer. And they had their walk today, which was done virtually.
Actually, I ran into Paula's mom while I was there.
Oh.
When I was walking, yep.
Actually,
Paula's mom
I saw her at the opening ceremony.
Yep.
She came back for.
Yep.
So actually, if I'm not mistaken, Stone Rose has an outside patio as well, correct?
I believe they do, yes.
And a separate entrance, so they should be serving on the outside.
I would call ahead to make sure. I have not heard from them if they are open
Yeah.
or not, but I would call ahead just to verify before going over.
Yep.
Supervisor Slater, how can I help you?
So just as a reminder, while the supervisor's on the phone,
Yeah,
dentists have been allowed to open. They
Sure.
have strict procedures to follow, but if you need to get out for your dental work, you can. Coming up on in phase 3, I know we have
Yep, no problem. You got it.
massage studios, and we have nail salons opening in phase 3. There's been some questions about when they could go and open. There's a question that just came
25%.
came on about churches.
Yep.
Yep, they are allowed to open 25% capacity. I know I was talking with someone from our coalition of religious organizations the other day. Some of the churches are a little wary about opening and holding services, and will still be utilizing the Zoom service or Facebook Live services. I do know St. Pat's was open because my mother-in-law was there today.
So Cherie wanted to go back to the masks. Be very, very clear about it. The executive order, which is a law signed by the governor, states if you cannot adhere to social distancing, which qualifies as 6 feet, you are mandated to wear a mask. Period. End of conversation. If you are in situations where you're less than 6 feet and you do not have a mask on, you are technically breaking the law. And again, as we've seen with so many of our retailers, restaurants, they do have the ability to deny entrance or service to somebody if they don't have a mask on. And I think every place I've been to has had a requirement that masks are being worn.
Actually, if someone has a health issue that could be exacerbated by the mask, they could present to the owner.
What's up, Steve?
So there is, if wearing a mask is detrimental to someone's health, maybe they have a breathing issue, COPD, whatever it may be,
Right.
then there can be exemptions.
Yeah,
so
we're working through that right now.
Do not jump the gun, and I know we saw something on the news a couple of weeks back where someone was
so we're going to be working to get the facilities
mask
open
shamed out of a store, and people were on the verge of beating this person for not wearing a mask. But if someone has a health issue, they can be exempted from it. So please don't jump the gun and make the assumption.
But to Cherie's point, if you are not able to adhere to 6 feet, so if you're on the trail and you're passing people on a narrow trail, mask. That is required by law, even though you're outside. Even if you're outside. If you're walking down the street and you're on the same side of the street as people and you're passing and you're breaking that 6-foot barrier, you have to wear a mask. That is the law. If you do not do that, you are breaking the law. Being very clear about this. Steve Rosen from SOAC just called about Granite Knolls. Granite Knolls remains closed. Obviously, now that we have directive from the governor regarding the sports that are going to be beginning on July 6th, we're going to obviously work towards making sure Granite Knolls is going to be ready to welcome our teams at that point in time. But until then, Granite Knolls and Legacy Field both remain closed. Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? Yes. Mm-hmm. We are looking to do another, yes, I'll answer that right now. Perfect. Thank you for asking the question. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. The question was about masks. We are planning on doing another mask giveaway. We're going to work this week on getting logistics settled, and then we will notify the public. It's going to be very similar to what we've done in the past, where it's a drive-through scenario, and we still have some masks left over from Hanes. So we are working to do that. Hand sanitizer, I'll have to check on. That was another question that the caller asked. If we're going to be giving hand sanitizer, which we did do, I believe, previously at one of our drops. I'm not sure what our supply is right now, so we'd have to check. But at the very least, we are going to have, hopefully by the end of this week, announce another mask distribution for the public to get your reusable masks.
Yeah, I think the hand sanitizer was through the Shrub Oak Mobile Station.
Yeah, the Musa family. So if you got the hand sanitizer from either up at Shrub Oak or at the Hudson Valley Islamic Center, where they did another one, that was not a town-sponsored event. that was actually sponsored by a small business here in Yorktown, the Musa family, who we really do thank and appreciate for their incredible generosity. You're right. I think that's exactly where it came from.
Yep.
But at least for the town, we are going to be, hopefully, the goal is at some point this coming week announce our I think it would be our 4th mask distribution.
Yeah, one here, one at JV, one at the mall, and this would be the 4th.
Yep, 4th mask distribution for the public. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. We'll be sending it out. If you haven't signed up for our emails and our alerts, please do that because we do send out a lot of this information via email, including the bulk trash schedule modification, which I know is everyone's favorite topic. So as a reminder, we are currently in the middle of Section 6. Section 7 begins June 22nd. Section 1, July 6th. Section 2, July 20th. And Section 3, July 27th. As a reminder, again, if you do have stuff out on the curb and you're not scheduled now to be picked up until next month, we request that you bring your items 10 feet behind the curb at the very least. As just, again, we have had to accomplish this with 50% of our staff. All the other municipalities who provide this service, to my knowledge, actually canceled it, but our R&R team wanted to continue to provide this service to our residents, so we understand that some people are frustrated with the flexibility and the fluid nature of the schedule. This is the schedule that we are sticking to. So again, we're in the middle of Section 6, going to Section 7. Section 1 is July 6th, Section 2, July 20th, Section 3, July 27th. All of this information is on our website. We ask that you check it if you can. If you have questions, you can either, again, call my office directly at 914-962-5722, extension 200, or you can call the Refuse and Recycling Center directly, and our staff over there will answer your questions about your schedule or any of your other needs. Any other questions on Facebook?
Well, you stopped at Section 3. Someone was curious about Section 4.
I believe Section 4, we already covered Section 4, and so we did cover Section 4 earlier during the pandemic, actually.
Right.
So Section 4 is not scheduled until, I believe, the fall for pickup.
Okay. Sergio joined us. Hello, Sergio. You missed all the business questions. No, nothing much there on that. Let's see. I guess that is it right now. There was a question by Marty McGann, and I think you may need to. I'm not sure what who won the negotiation means. So you might want to touch base with him on the side.
Okay. Very good. Councilman, closing remarks?
Look, just we appreciate the support. A lot of people have been very complimentary here about getting the information. Once again, as a board, the decision to make sure there is transparency, there's communication, that it's a really people working together for the better of Yorktown as a whole. Is prime in everything that we wanted to accomplish regardless. This pandemic has, sometimes the cream rises to the top. This pandemic has really, shown us some great things in our town and why Yorktown is so great to live in. So I just ask you all to keep focused, stay smart, stay safe, be successful as we move towards our successful reboot. I know sometimes things don't make much sense. There was one other question that just popped up.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let's just get past phase 4 and start to really, when everything's open and where we need to be, some decisions can be made to, if we're being smart, will be putting us on the right path. So just keep it up, and thank you all for the appreciation of our Q&As and our town board working together. We appreciate you tuning in, checking this out, and asking the questions that need to be asked. So, thank you.
So the question was asked about limiting the number of spectators at outdoor sports games, practices,
Yep.
events, sports events. That's a great question. You would call the governor's office for the answer because they're the one who handed it down. My guess is that it's to limit the large gatherings, the large group of people coming together at a specific place. They're still very myopic on trying to prevent that from happening. So that's my sense. But again, this is part of the process that we go through. The state, or frankly the governor and his staff, provide this information, and then we disseminate it to all of you, and we try to be a hub of information. And that's what we try to do on a daily basis to the best of our ability. And so most importantly, though, we're at a point where we're actually going to be able to welcome sports back to our facilities in a very safe and a very smart way. And so if we have to choose between having sports and limiting the number of spectators to not having sports, I choose having sports and limiting the number of spectators. This way our kids can get back on the ball fields and enjoy the rest of their summer. And
Absolutely.
Just going off of what Councilman Lachterman said, I just want to thank the town of Yorktown. This has been undescribable, to say the least. But we're not done, and that's the thing that we have to make sure that we're clear on. We still have a ways to go. And you heard Cherie earlier tonight about the masks. And that's just one facet of this entire situation. And we have to continue to stay focused. We have to continue to respect the parameters. And we have to continue to respect each other. And if we continue to do that, we will get through into a phase 4 scenario where everything is back open. And again, as I said, we can enjoy the rest of our summer and look forward to a successful fall and everything moving back into a very positive direction. But it's going to continue to take a team effort, a community effort. That's why this town is so great. We talked about the Yorktown Way dozens of times a few weeks ago, and I still believe that it's there. I see it constantly by our neighbors, and it's neighbor helping neighbor and respecting each other and showing that compassion, showing that care for each other. And it may not seem like it, but just a simple thing of wearing a mask when you're passing somebody on a trail or on a sidewalk or when you're not able to maintain that 6-foot barrier, that is an important gesture. It really is, because you're showing and you're telling someone that you care about them and you care about their family and who they're going home to. And so it really does go a long way, and it will go a long way to making sure that we continue to flatten the curve and that we can reopen this town fully this summer. So, as always, we're going to continue to provide verified and accurate information. We talked about the numbers today. We talked about the impact that it is having in our nursing homes. That is real. That is happening right now. And we will continue to report on that as those numbers become available. We'll be at our town board meeting. We'll provide more information on Tuesday. We will provide more information on Thursday. And I'm sure we'll be back here on Sunday to answer more questions and, again, provide this information in a very transparent and conversational way. And so just until then, just continue to be smart, be safe, stay focused, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much, Yorktown.